Okay, so we are back Monday, March 23rd. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Um, we're going to continue with the periodic table today. You guys are only going to be working on the periodic table reviews today. First is going to be practice with identifying the groups of that an element belongs to, and then looking at the periodic table trends. I know that when we had looked at the periodic table trends in class, that some people were getting a bit confused or overthinking it, but we'll look at that specifically when we get to that section. But first, we're going to start with practicing identifying the groups. So, for example 1, how many valence electrons does each element have? So in order to look at this, you need to determine the group number for an element. So if you look, the group numbers 1A, 2A, 3B, 4B, all of that. So it continues on, but there's a distinction between group A and group B. So this method only works for group A elements, no transition metals. Remember, transition metals are weird. They can choose how many valence electrons they have a certain day. They can have 2, 3, how many ever they want, where group A elements are rigid in that they have a specific number of valence electrons no matter what. The only one that doesn't follow this rule is helium. Even though it is in group 8A, it does have has 2 valence electrons. So whenever you see a question asking how many valence electrons helium has, you need to remember that it's the oddball, it has 2. And the easy way to remember is, so electrons, it corresponds to the atomic number. So we have 1 electron, 2 electron. And where these guys down here, they have a second shell. So remember, on the first shell there was only 2 electrons, and then on the next shell there could be 8. So these can have more than 2 valence electrons along this second row. But helium and hydrogen at most can only have 2. So helium will have 2 valence electrons. So how many valence electrons does calcium have? So first off, we need to find calcium. So if you remember, calcium is right here, Ca. So you look at the group number, we go up to the top, it says 2A. So that means that calcium has 2 valence electrons. Okay, so again, calcium, which is Ca, right here, has a group number of 2A, so it has 2 valence electrons. Now what about bromine? So bromine is way over here, Br. We need to find its group number, so we go up to the top. It says 7A. So bromine is in group 7A, which means it has 7 valence electrons. Now, what about helium? So if we look, find the group number for helium. Helium's right here. It's in group 8A, which you want to think then, therefore helium has 8 valence electrons, except helium is the only one who doesn't follow this rule. Even though it is in group 8A, it has 2 valence electrons. So don't let that question trick you up. Now we're going to look at metal, nonmetal, and metalloid. On any of these questions, I will give you these periodic tables like this, these diagrams for the forms, so that you're able to identify them. And then, so like for platinum here, it's hard to read the names and stuff like that, but I will give you that platinum is PT. So platinum, PT, right here, is in blue, which means it is a metal. And then germanium, which is right here, GE, is orange, so it is a metalloid. Hydrogen is it a metal, nonmetal, or metalloid? Now hydrogen's kind of odd. Placement-wise, it looks like it should be a metal, but it is green, so it is a nonmetal. So remember, hydrogen, even though he's part of that group 1, which is thought of as the alkali metals, Hydrogen's actually not an alkali metal because he's a nonmetal. Then we have looking at our big main groups. We have the alkali metals, alkaline earth, halogens, and noble gases. So calcium, remember, is Ca. Where's my mouse? There it is. So it's right here. It is in orange, so it is an alkaline earth metal. Okay. Then we have argon. Argon is right here. It is dark purple, so it is a noble gas. And then we have rubidium. Rubidium is way over here to the left. It is red, so it is an alkali metal. And lastly, chlorine is light purple, so it is a halogen. And actually, there's one more, nickel. So nickel, Ni, is yellow, so it is a transition metal. Okay, so we're going to stop there for that lesson. Go ahead, do that form on groups of the periodic table, and then we'll take a look at the trends. Let me know if you have any questions.